Andre started putting me on like EuroLeague, like when I first got over there, and he was like showing me like numbers. He was like, look at Mike Batiste. Mike Batiste makes $2.5 million. He's averaging 8 and 7. None of the Americans over here averaging 25 points. None of the Americans over here is averaging this. So he's like, if you want to be here, which I think you could be here, start looking at these players. Start looking at what they do. Start looking at the little things that they do. And that's where you can have the most impact. And then once I started doing that, I was like, okay, that was like my aha moment.
Welcome back to the Role Player Podcast, presented by Swish Cultures, featured on EuroHoops.net, also Apple Podcasts. I think I said Spotify, but let's just make sure we do them again. And then, of course, the Swish Cultures YouTube page. So y'all go ahead and make sure y'all subscribe on that button below when you check it out. I'm back again. I'm Jordan Taylor. I am with my co-host and my guy, the CEO, co-founder of Swish Cultures, 11-year vet, Stanford gentleman, and a nigga with an immaculate hairline today, Anthony Goods. What's up, man?
Hey, bro, man. I was at an event, man, and the homie texted me. He texted me. He was like, "Hey, bro, your waves are popping," and I was like, "Yo, that's like, you know, if the homie, he'll never say it in public, but you know what I mean. He texts it to you. That's when you know your barber doing his thing, man. So I know it's a good week."
Hey, you know we always keep it real on here too, and I'm gonna show love. You know, I'm gonna tell it like it is. And I see you had your chin down a little lower today, trying to show off the top. I see us looking. You know what I'm saying? Normally you look it up a little bit. So we go, yeah, we looking down, man.
Surprised they ain't brushing.
Man, right. Came through with pulled the dewy off when the shit started and everything. Start brushing and all that, man. But look, man, we got a very, very special guest, probably one of our most distinguished, accomplished guests we've had so far. So bear with us as I read off this man's accomplishments and highlights, because it might take a minute, and he deserves all the love. So it's an Italian League champ, 2-time Italian Cup winner, a 2-time LBA Best Defender, an Italian Cup Super Cup winner, a EuroLeague 2010-2020 All-Decade Team member, 3-time EuroLeague Best Defender, 6-time VTB United League champion, a Greek League champion, a Greek League blocks leader, 2-time Greek League champion, a German Cup winner, German Super Cup winner, German League Finals MVP, German League All-Star Game MVP, a 2-time Italian Second Division Cup winner, a SoCon Player of the Year if we're going all the way back to college, and of course we can't forget a 4-time EuroLeague champ, one of the greatest to do it ever overseas and quite frankly in basketball in general, if we're being real. We got the one and only Kyle Hines, man. Kyle, we appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate you, man. I'm very humbled to be on here, man. I appreciate you guys, man. I'm definitely a fan of the show, fan of everything, fan of Swish Cultures. Me and Ant was talking a little bit before, man, but I love what you guys are doing. I'm happy to be here.
Yo, man,
no
Kyle probably the reason they just start handing out medals, you know what I mean? Like, they start giving out trophies. They're like, yo, man, these cats out here winning too much. We gonna have to give out some medals now.
Hey, but he's the reason that we don't need to give out medals. If you ain't winning, then it's a trophy or nothing. It's a trophy or nothing at the same time, man. That is excellence at its finest, man. So, and honestly, I think it needs to be said more because, you know, you see now in the game with highlights being such a thing, especially, you know, we have pages like Swish Cultures that love to show love, but you know, sometimes you get guys playing for that, I think. So I think it needs to be said more, you know, all the accomplishments you have, and not necessarily as a numbers guy your whole career, you know what I'm saying? So I guess we're gonna start right there and just kind of talk about was winning always the main priority for you? And I know that sounds like a crazy question, but in today's days and age, was winning always the main priority?
I mean, winning was always in the forefront, but I mean, I'm just like everybody else, you know, growing up, it was all about numbers in the beginning. Like, you know, you go to high school and college, you know, it was all about 20 and 10, doubles, you know, trying to average 20, the winning came with it, but, you know, if you were able to get the individual accolades, you know, that's what, you know, what mattered the most. You know, up till, you know, I was in college and I got tired of losing, honestly with you. Like, be honest with you, I got tired of losing. Like, I won my first championship, I think it was in the 4th grade, and I won a championship after that until I got overseas. And I just got, you know, tired of losing, you know, tired of having that feeling, tired of watching, you know, other people, you know, hold trophies and hold, you know, all that different type stuff. So, you know, once I got overseas, I just try to start focusing on trying to do what's best for the team. And then once I started focusing on that rather than kind of focusing on my individual numbers, that's when I was able to start having the most success, in my career, just in general. So and then all the individual accolades kind of came with that. So, once I started focusing on, the team goals and start focusing on what I can do to help our team win, then that's when everything changed for me.
Yeah, man.
Yo, what was your mentality going into your rookie season? Like, what were your thoughts leaving college?
My mentality was I was trying to get back to the league. I was trying to get in the league. So I was trying to do whatever that was possible. And the only way I honestly knew how was I'm just going to put up numbers. I'm going to try to put up as many numbers as I possibly can. And I quickly learned, I was thankful that I went to a team in the second division that had all vets. It was all old school Italian vets. Guys that had played first division, guys that had played in the national team. And I had a coach, Andrea Tancredi, had quickly, showed me that this wasn't going to way that was going to be for me to be successful. So, like I said, I first got over it. I was I'm going to get buckets. I'm going to put up numbers. I honestly thought I was a scorer. I was I'm a scorer. What they talking about? I'm a scorer. I'm going to put up numbers. And I remember the second day of practice, and I went I dribbled the ball coast to coast and went 1-on-5, went to the hole, missed everything. And then he took a timeout and just cursed me out, gave me a new one. And then one of the vets pulled me to the side, and he was like, "Listen, man," he's like, "If you want to make it here over in Europe, this is not the way you got to play." So, once I started to understand that, and after I got tired of getting cursed out by Andrea and all that different type of stuff, I started to slowly figure out that if I'm if I'm going to be successful, I have to go about it a different way. The old way I was doing is not going to work. And if I'd have continued that way, I'd have been in and out of Europe probably within my first year, probably.
Man, that's crazy awareness, because I feel like we talk a lot about on this show how situation is how important situation is to success, but at the same time, how accepting were you of his coaching? Because for those that don't know, Trinchieri is one of the better coaches in Europe as well now. So, but as an American, how hard was it you to accept his words? Because you probably came over there with an ego like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? So what was that like, getting cussed out all the time and then making that switch?
It was difficult initially because, up to that point, every team I've been on, I've been the best player. And then the coaches, they coddled me. So, I was, they would tell me when I was wrong, but they would never really curse me out or anything like that. So, so for me, that first time, it was almost like a shock. It was almost wow, he really talking to me like that. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I did. But then, like I said, I realized that, honestly, your stats, all the stuff you did back home, all that different type of stuff, it don't matter over there. At the end of the day, it truly, really don't matter. So I was like, listen, if I'm gonna make my way, if I'm gonna be successful here, then I gotta completely change my whole mentality. So I stopped really getting upset that he was cussing me out. And I started really trying to understand what he was really trying to say and what was his meaning and the reason why he was doing it. And once I understood that, we ended up having a really great relationship. And like I said, I think I learned so much from him over that first year. And if I didn't have him, I really don't think I would be, at the place that I am today, for that reason.
Yo, I think it's the funniest thing how I always felt in the States, man, you guys remember, you coming up high school, whatever, and or even college, and they be like, yo, this coach is crazy. This coach is crazy. And you buy into that. And then once you get to Europe, you yo, this is a different level over here, man.
Nah, facts. Was there an American that you talked to help you deal with that, or was it only the Italians? Because for me, I don't know about you, but for me, it was even them Italians, I wasn't trying to hear that bullshit either. I was like, man, you Italian, you know what I'm saying? Nah. So was it someone else as well?
In the beginning, I was the same way. I was like, what you talking about? You old. I was like, you old. He was like, you can't guard me. I was like, I'm not gonna listen to you. And then there was an American. Actually, it was two players. There was an American, actually three. There was an American that I came in with named DeJuan Robinson, and he kind of, he was a 3-4 year vet, and he kind of spoke to me. So I was like, all right, he was from the same area I was from. He's from Philly, so I was like, I knew him, and somebody I looked up to. Then there was a Israeli/French guard named Afik Nissim, and he really is almost the way he says stuff, his approach to saying stuff is very scientific, and he uses like uses big words and everything like that. So I was literally like sitting down, like talking to him almost like I was like talking to my pops or talking to like an elder or something like that. So he would really sit down and like school me. And then it was Jerome Allen, who's I think he's assistant coach with Detroit right now. But he was a legend in Italy. You know what I mean? Legend in Italy, you know, a legend here in Philly. And he came to the team once DeJuan got hurt, and he was 35, 36 at the time, almost at the end of his career. And he literally would sit me down every day. Like, he would make me go to dinner with him. Like, I was like, I'm not trying to go to dinner with you. I'm trying to, I'm trying to go out, do this, do my own thing. And he would make me go to dinner with him. He literally would sit me down, and we would literally just talk every day. Like, talk about life, talk about different things. And like I said, like, he really invested in me. And like, once I started like listening to him, like I said, everything just really changed. And then I started listening to the Italian players. And once they kind of see that, honestly, you know how it is, like when you with, the domestic players or players there, they don't really, I guess, buy into you until you actually buy into them. So once they see that I was really buying into like the team culture and I was really trying to be about the team and everything like that, that's when they started inviting me to dinner. That's when they started, inviting me out, inviting me different places. And that's when I kind of like, okay, you know what? I get it. I get what they were trying to do, and I fully understand it now.
Man, you got one good? You had? I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Not that's So I mean, yeah. For those that don't know, I didn't even know this till like a couple years ago. But I didn't know you averaged like 20 your first 2 years in Italy.
Yeah.
So even then, was it like what was the mental struggle of giving up, like being a scorer? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, was there ever part of you that was like, you have a great game, maybe you had like 8 and 11 or 12 and 15, you go home and be like, man, I could have had 25. You know what I'm saying? And did you struggle with that, internally at all, even though you started winning?
I mean, yeah, because I asked y'all a question. When you play overseas, and you call somebody back home, and you say, "Oh, I had a game." What's the first thing they ask you?
I mean, you had.
You drop. So I was like, so I'm all my boys and everybody calling me. They're like, "Yo, how many you drop?" I'm like, "Oh, I had 6. I had 8." But I'm like, well, we won. We won. Like, I'm trying to like explain to them. Hey, like, what's going on? You all right? You need me to come out there? But they don't really get it. So I think initially, like, it was difficult. Like, it was difficult. Like, I really thought I was a scorer. Like, I said today, I really thought I was a scorer. And I really thought I was a scorer until I started hanging around scorers, like people that are like really scorers, like like. So I was like, yeah, I could put up 20 until you get around like somebody that can drop 20 in the quarter or drop 20 off of like that type of thing. So once I started getting around like better players, honestly, when I got to Bamberg in Germany, that's what like really opened up my eyes, because I was around like Brian Roberts, I was around Casey Jacobson, I was around like all these players, and like these guys are real life scorers, like real life shooters, and I was like, you know what? I was like, yo, I'm not as nice as I thought I was, so I'm going to have to try to figure this out and try to find my niche and try to find my role, on this team if I'm going to survive. Because initially, like Chris Fleming, he wasn't playing me. He was like, yo, you going to come here and you think you're going to average 20, then you're not going to play. So I was like, if I want to play, then I got to find my way to, get on the court. And like I said, eventually I found my role, and that's kind of like, what happened.
Man, I don't know what y'all think, but I feel like that. I've always said I feel like that's Americans' biggest problem, is being able, that maturation process of being able to understand and realize, you're not that. You don't need to be that. Maybe you might be that, but you don't need to be that. You know what I'm saying? So like I always like I had a teammate, Scotty Houser. He was like, and he, this dude was a scorer, but he could also go get a triple double like that. And I'll be literally tell the dude, like in EuroLeague, go get a triple double. He get a triple double. Next game trying to get 35, and you know how that is over there. So that's impressive for you to have that humility and that awareness to be able to switch up like that.
I think a lot of it though is kind of what Kyle said, and what exactly are you playing for? And that's where the maturation process comes. Are you playing for those phone calls that, you get from home, after the games and at night and stuff like that? Or are you playing for, your check, your future, your legacy and everything else? And I think that's where, finding your role and things of that nature kind of puts everything into perspective. And then you have to prioritize, like, all right, well, yeah, they're just going to I'm going to have to just deal with these deflated phone calls when they find out I had 8 and 12, you know what I mean? As opposed to, the 25, and then, things aren't going as well.
Facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
So, like, also, like, I started, like, Andrea started putting me on, like, EuroLeague, like, when I first got over there. and he was like showing me like numbers. He was like, look at Mike Batiste. Mike Batiste makes $2.5 million. He's averaging 8 and 7. I'm like, what? Watch him. See the impact he has. Look at this player over here. He's averaging 10 and 6. None of the Americans over here averaging 25 points. None of the Americans over here is averaging this. So he's like, if you want to be here, which I think you could be here, start looking at these players. Start looking at what they do. Start looking at the little things that they do. And that's where you can have the most impact. And then once I started doing that, I was like, okay. That was like my aha moment. I was like, okay, so you tell me if I do this, I can do this, and I can do this. So that was the game changer.
Do you think, looking at those players though, and we're going to get into kind of your journey as it relates to the NBA, do you think that hurt your prospects of getting back to the NBA, even though it hurt or it helped you, along in Europe?
I mean, I think it was twofold. I mean, I always say, and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day, I've been playing for 15 years. 15 years ago, the NBA was different. The NBA was completely different. The NBA wasn't what it is now. It was very cookie cutter. It was very like, you go to the combine, and if you're not this, you're not going to get drafted. Or if you're not this, like, so for me, I'm 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", maybe some days. And as a power forward, as a center, I majority played my back to the basket in college. So, unless you somebody that's a next generational or freak like Charles Barkley or somebody like that, I wasn't going to get my opportunity. So I realized that. Looking now, more likely now, I would probably have opportunities. I'll probably have more legitimate opportunities because the way the NBA is. The NBA is positionless. You look at the Golden State Warriors. You look at all these different teams. They have 5 guards on the court, or they have 5 guys that are positionless on the court. So it's not so much, you're not defined necessarily by your position. You're defined by what you can do, the impact that you can have. So I think that, and I think also, I just ran into some really great situations that, happened to probably, put me in a better opportunity. Like when I was in Cheska, I never hit the market. So I never really had an opportunity to, ever test myself to if I wanted to go to the NBA. It was like, I'm at Cheska. I was like, I'm not trying to go anywhere. Like I'm at the pinnacle.
Facts.
So I'm in Olympiacos. I just won 2 EuroLeagues. So I was like, I'm not really trying to leave. So I think by the time then, like my mentality really shifted. Like I wasn't really trying to go back to the league. I was just like, I'm happy here, and this is where I want to finish my career and stay here. So.
Yeah, I got a question for you. I got a question for y'all. So like, let's say Instagram was booming. Let's say like early 2010s, right? What player do you think would be like the overseas basketball god of like NBA of highlights? Which overseas player from back then do you think? Like off rip, I'm thinking Juan Carlos Navarro with like the 1 foot threes and stuff.
I think Juan Carlos would be crazy. I think Pete Michael from Barcelona. He kind of went a little bit viral, but Pete Michael was a dog. Terrell McIntyre, like he was like the first like American like guard before like Mike, before like Bo McCallum, like Terrell McIntyre, like he was.
I gotta go back on him. I gotta go back and look at the footage on him because when I came in, Bo was that guy.
Yeah,
when I came, Bo was that guy.
Yeah. So Terrell McIntyre was before Bo. Terrell McIntyre was from like South Carolina, like Clemson area. He was unreal. And then Yamaditas, Yamaditas and Papa Lucas. 6'5" point guards, like playing pick and roll, doing all type of stuff. Like Papa Lucas was 6'5", 6'6", like destroyed the U.S. team in 2000. Was it 2004, 2008, something like that? Destroyed the U.S. team with So I think him, and then early Big Sofo. Like those are my players. Like early Big Sofo. I think the internet would have went crazy for like a young Big Sofo. Like him being that size and be able to move and maneuver the things that he was able to do. I think he would have went like instant viral.
See, y'all brothers old, so I was Instagram started popping right when I got overseas, pretty much. So I'll probably Sofo was probably the first one who I saw over there where I was like, damn, like This dude is unstoppable, low key. Like, he was probably the first one that I had really
We
seen.
old, man. We old.
Yeah, you said 2010s. I was
This is
still
how
in
old I
college.
am with social media. So I met my wife on MySpace, right?
Damn, Black Planet, huh? Y'all was on Black Planet.
I went to college before Facebook started. Like I remember when Facebook was like, Facebook was only was only on colleges. Like you see the movie Social Network, but it was only on colleges. So I remember like when Facebook came to your school, like everybody was going crazy. Like we were all waiting to get Facebook. As soon as Facebook came, so when I started college, Facebook didn't come like my second semester. So like some of y'all, like some of these kids, they don't. Social media is all they know. Like. So that's how old I am, man. That's how old.
Nah, I remember I took my visit. I took my visit to Stanford, and that's when Facebook had first dropped. They was like, "Yeah, you need a college email to get on this. It's only at a few schools." Like they was telling me about it, like it was something super exclusive. But I was like, "Yo, but all the ratchets is on MySpace. Like I don't need this."
It's definitely on MySpace. What's crazy is y'all really grew with Facebook too, because now people y'all age really only on Facebook still. That's crazy. That's 42 plus.
My pops talking about, I'm gonna put this on my Facebook page. I was like, oh man, that's.
Bro, my granny got on Instagram in front of me. I blocked her. I'm like, this ain't where you need to see me. You can see me on Facebook, but IG, this ain't where you need to see me.
Nah, facts. I had to block my mom too. That's crazy. But so actually, I was gonna ask you if going back then, coming out, being from a small conference too, what do you think that would have done for you? Obviously it's different now. You see players from smaller schools going to the NBA too. So were there frustration with that, or what's your thoughts on like the smaller players going to the league now? Or I guess did you have bigger schools? Would you have chose a bigger school back then if you could have? Yada yada. You know how that goes. Just kind of.
I mean, initially, I thought my stats. I was frustrated in the beginning because I was like, I thought I fit the bill. Like, my stats. Like I felt like I played well against all the big schools, the Dukes, the Virginia Techs, all the big schools. I had big games against them, so I was like, I thought I proved that I belong. The NBA Combine, Portsmouth, all that stuff. Like I played well, so I thought. So for me, it was puzzling. I was like, I don't understand why I'm not getting a legitimate shot. And I think most people from most small school people, they think that, because I think a lot of people back then. They thought like the level was, so off that they probably, couldn't play or couldn't compete. So, I mean, I think, guys like Steph, guys of that nature who have like, great careers from like small schools, I think they help kind of change, that mindset a little bit. When I went to a bigger school, I mean, probably not. Like I enjoyed where I went to school. I enjoyed the success I had. I think that, one of the things with me, I think that, everybody has a path and everybody's path is intended for a reason. So I think me going to that school, actually helped me. I think it actually helped me, in my career. I think we were talking about before, and you guys talked about before with somebody else. I think for me going overseas, I think the fact that I went to a smaller school, probably gave, me, opportunity to have more success because I wasn't used to, all the glitz and stuff that you get when you go to Stanford and all that different type. I wasn't used to all that different type of stuff and all the gear and all that stuff. So, so I think once I got overseas, like I was used to just getting just our practice gear and all that different type of stuff. So I was used to the grind. So I think from that standpoint, I think it helped me out. But sometimes I think all of us, you looking back on it like, man, what if I'd have went to Duke or what if I went to UNC or what if I'd have went to like, these different type of schools and you see the brotherhood and you see the alumni and you see all that stuff. So, part of me, yes, but part of me is like, I'm happy the way it turned out.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought too. I was about to ask you what it was like playing overseas back in 2007 before the social media era. You had to use calling cards.
Man, we had
Skype.
Yeah. There were two things, Skype, and then the cheat code was Vonage. Yeah.
Vonage.
Vonage was like this modem, and then you plugged it up over there. It was like an internet modem. You plugged it up, and it allowed you to have like a phone back home. Plan was like $40, and it was like having like a house phone like overseas. So like when you couldn't get on Skype, Like, you just had the violence. I would just be, you know what I mean? I would act like I was at home. And so, yeah. So that's basically what it was. There was no FaceTime. Like you said, it was just Skype, Blackberries. They had the international Blackberry, so I was able to BBM. That's how me and my wife at the time, she was my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was tough, man. It was tough. Even like so we talk about like video games and DVDs. Like, there was a point where, you know, like, video games and DVDs didn't, like, American video games and DVDs didn't work in Europe, right? It wasn't like that. You could just download a game or download whatever you want. You got Apple TV. You can just, you know, download it. So, like, whatever you wanted for the year, you had to bring with you. So I would go to GameStop. I would buy like 15 games. I would buy like all these DVDs, and like whatever I had, like that's what I had, unless somebody sent me a package or something like that. So, I mean, it was different. But I mean, honestly, like, it's just like how you would talk to your parents. You'd be like, yo, how did y'all grow up without having this? How did y'all grow up without having that? Like, you don't know. So you just go out and you just deal with whatever you have. So, but for the most part, I mean, it was a lot different. Now, I mean, these guys overseas now, they spoiled, man. You get everything. It's easy. It's easy. Guys that complain about like homesickness and, you know, not doing this and not having something to do. I'm like, y'all got everything. You can watch Netflix. You can do everything. Like, back then, you had 2 DVDs and 2 CDs and 1 game. That's all you had for the whole entire year, and that was it.
That was, you was watching them movies on repeat.
We used to show them. Like, you used to have like a little like exchange. Like, we go like to Rome, and then like, you know, somebody had a new one. We would, you know, take it, use it for. It was almost like a overseas blockbuster, like Reynolds, like that type of junk. We used to like, you know, yeah, man, it sounds bad now.
Yo, that's crazy. So you really like y'all was missing out. If it's a new movie that come out in the theaters, it was still coming out over there too, though. But would they have the English, you know, subtitle or translation or whatever?
Hold on when you play that. Yeah, it was either
depend on the city.
Yeah, either hit or miss, or you just have to wait till you get back home, or hopefully somebody sends you the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact. And then there was like when I first started coming over, we were getting all the like, you would have the DVDs for like your laptop. You could watch it on your laptop, plug your laptop into the TV. But then I had a homie. He had a gang of everything on his hard drive.
Yeah.
So then I was like, yo, I got to buy a hard drive. He had Martin. He had Fresh Prince. He had everything on there. So, like, I was over there. I was like, yo, you got a hard drive? Like, let me borrow your hard drive. And you just start, like, downloading other people's movies on your hard drive. And that's how you used to get it off, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, what's the hard drive? I think it was like one guy in Houston, if I'm not mistaken, that was selling them. And he would sell, like, the full hard drives. It was like everybody had a hard drive from the same dude. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I had a hard drive from that dude in Houston. He was hooking all the league cats up. Yeah, that's funny as hell, man. So which do you prefer? Which one do you think, like, because I feel like there's 2 sides to that coin. Which would you prefer, nowadays or back then, I guess? Or what do you like about each, I should say?
Back then, I think it was,
obviously.
I mean, I think he was just more resourceful, like, back then. Like, he was just more resourceful. Like, you know, you would just try to, like, you would either lean on your network, or also, like, you know, I think guys was doing more, like, together. He was going out, and because y'all wasn't able to sit there playing on PlayStation or Netflix, you know, he was going out, exploring the city, doing stuff, meeting up with other teams, meeting up with other people. You know, now, I mean, you can sit in the crib and watch Netflix or watch whatever, Apple TV, or be on your computer or on FaceTime all day. So I think I mean, I appreciate it now, but I mean, I look at both. I mean, I appreciate what happens back then, but I would much more enjoy, now. It makes everything a lot simpler now.
And then, you know, we all had that teammate that, like, stay on the phone 24/7 nowadays. Like, you got that one dude, he always on FaceTime. He always tapped in back home. He just, like, in his bubble until it's practice, until it's oh, that's you, huh?
Up to like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, I had teammates that was up, like, trying to stay on US time on FaceTime. I just sitting there like, yeah. That's
my first 3 years. I was up till 4:30 damn near every day. For game days, I used to have to take NyQuil because I couldn't sleep before. So I used to have to take NyQuil so I could knock out at like 11, something like that. Pull up in that gym tired than a motherfucker, man. But probably I got all these damn injuries, but nah, but that's dope, man. You got to see kind of the evolution of overseas, man, from a social perspective. So from a basketball standpoint, the game has obviously changed a lot. Because you was over there when the Trapezoid Land was there too, right? Yes. So where do you see, as far as it's come, and now with the EuroLeague Players Association and the EuroLeague kind of having more publicity as the second best league in the world, where do you see the future of European basketball going? That's a broad question. So
it's going to grow. I mean, it's going to continue to grow. I mean, I think that it's going to continue to get more exposure. With stuff that you guys are doing, stuff that, other guys, other players, and other platforms are doing. It's going to continue to grow. I mean, I think people are taking more notice of it. I think you're starting to see EuroLeague have real life stars. I mean, I think the main person everybody comes to name is Mike James. You're starting to see right now. I guess maybe there's one or two, like a Mike James or a Shane Larkin that are American stars. But I think you're going to continue the evolution where it's going to be more. Maybe every team has somebody that's more notable, or every that type of thing. I think the league is going to continue to get more exposure and continue to grow. It is the second best league in the world. I think you can see the reason why that, not only because the players that are doing well in the States, but also that the players, like I said, are doing well in the EuroLeague. And I think that overall, I think that the future of EuroLeague is very bright. I think it's going to, I think over the next 10 years, I think you're going to see some of the best basketball players probably come, from EuroLeague basketball, in my opinion.
As a part of the Players Association, what type of things are you pushing for? Like, what type of things are still missing right now?
I think a big thing to me is just players being able to monetize and earn earnings, not only just based off of just like their salary. I think a big thing moving forward, I think, is going to be players having control of their image rights. Because right now we don't. I think teams are able to use your image or monetize your image any way you see fit, and I think that which is different from in the States. Players are able to use their name, their likeness, their image, and be able to monetize it and use it however they see fit. And that allows them to get individual endorsements, in which I think with social media and those different type of mediums that are popping up, I think it will give more players opportunity. I think also pension. A pension fund or something along those lines. I think we're all young. When we were younger, we're only thinking about right now. We're not necessarily thinking about like me when towards the end of your career. And even me, I'm not thinking about 50. When I'm 50, 55 or whatever. When when I want to have the opportunity for my years of service, to be able to get the fruits of that. So I think like professional sports in North America. Guys are able to, take the pension and use the pension, for their benefits. So I think that for me is the next two things I would like to see. But then on the court, I mean, I think the product of basketball is as well. I don't know if there's any necessarily, any big changes that I would probably like to see. Yeah, I think that's it. I think those are probably the two biggest things I would like to see that hopefully I think will happen sooner than later.
Yeah, I remember there was like a lot of discussion about the stickers on the court. How has that evolved since that conversation got started, and where is that at now? Because I mean, you would think like they got to be able to paint some of that stuff on the wood, man.
Well, in EuroLeague, you're no longer allowed to have stickers on the court. So everything on the paint and on the half court has to be painted. And then even on the sidelines, if I'm not mistaken, they had like those advertisement stickers that they usually have that sometimes they were putting on with duct tape and different type of tape and stuff like that. From my understanding, we're trying to get those removed as well. So with the hope that if we do it in EuroLeague, we set the standard in EuroLeague, then everything else will trickle down to Euro Cup, to Euro Challenge, to FIBA, to the domestic league and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think the stickers are, if you look at them, how many players, I think somebody sent me a video a couple years back of like a compilation of like how many players actually got injured and got hurt, seriously injured, seriously hurt, wher it's like ACL, MCL, Achilles, or muscle tears or something like that, just based off of a sticker. Whether or not, and not so much a lot of it's because the teams weren't upkeeping the stickers. They would have one sticker on for the whole entire season, and eventually it would slip. So I think we're moving towards that being the standard all throughout Europe, and I think it's making teams find more creative ways to advertise and to market And so that way, and I think also it's going to put players player safety at the forefront. I think that's also what it's done too.
Yeah, man. It's funny just chopping up highlights, man. Over the last 5 years, I used to see that ISO up top with that middle sticker.
Yeah.
Like somebody might get dropped depending on who's up there.
Yeah.
Like he might get dropped, man.
Yeah. According where you at, where you playing at, what type of sneakers you got, like Jones, it becomes like an ice skating ring after a while. You just out there just slipping and sliding. So.
That's why you don't play defense. That's the key.
Let them go.
Just don't guard. You got him.
Get beat and rotate.
Just don't guard. Hey, hey man. Late contest. Nah, man. But what about making the game? Because obviously there's little things like the shot clock goes from 24 to 14, like the NBA. What about a longer game, going to 48 minutes, something like that? And then also, where do you stand on separating as a league? EuroLeague becoming its own league. Maybe
I think the time period. I think going to 48 minutes. I don't necessarily think would benefit the game, or I don't think it would change it that much. EuroLeague is different. European basketball is different for the most part. That they use 10 players. Most players are playing sharing the minute, sharing the load. So I don't think that will necessarily be a big thing. Maybe it'll increase the level of possession, increase the score. So maybe that will be more exciting for the fans to see, more scoring rather than games happen in the 60s and 70s. Maybe you have more games in the 90s and 100s. So maybe that way will kind of be more entertaining. But I don't think overall, it will change the game, the actual product of the game that much. As far as EuroLeague being a closed league, I think eventually, it's organically going to happen. I think it has to happen. Just because of basketball is a business, and where do you see the most the most money, the most opportunity, and that's in high level basketball, and that's the highest level, the highest competition is EuroLeague basketball. So I think overall, it's organically going to happen. I don't know what that time frame is going to be. I don't think it's going to be necessarily while I'm still playing. I think it's going to be further long down the line. But I think it's going to happen. I think it's organically going to happen. I think it's going to be the natural progression, of basketball, of sports. You've seen soccer try it, a little while ago, but I think EuroLeague is going to have to eventually do it, especially with the scheduling and everything that that kind of accompanies, the EuroLeague or the basketball season overseas.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I'm a big fan of it. I say get rid of domestic leagues, man. Get rid of all them dudes. Ant don't agree with me, man. I'm like, go EuroLeague. Get rid of all them dudes. Send them to H&R Block. Let the Hoopers play, man.
Tell me, talk to me. Why would you say that you don't want EuroLeague to be a closed league?
I just think that it hurts basketball at the domestic level, for these. Because it's easier in the States. We're this huge country, and whatnot. So, but you have these individual countries where a lot of these smaller market teams they kind of depend on playing against like the EuroLeague teams, and it brings a sense of pride. Like it brings a lot more to the country from a local standpoint. So I think that in regards to growth, I don't think it's going to hurt growth that much if the EuroLeague teams just break off and have their own season. But I think it definitely does. It does help. I'm sure we've all seen it when the EuroLeague team comes to that small team, like the gym is packed. Everybody's there, like people that probably never been to a game the whole year. It's the same thing like with the Drew League, like LeBron going to the Drew League, like it was packed. You got guys that have never seen these type of players play, so I think that culturally, I think it'll take something away, for these domestic countries. Like I'm 100% for it. Like in regards to the best league, best competition, best players. Like there should be their own league, but I also do understand the impact of having those EuroLeague teams at the domestic level and like what it could do for a particular country. So that's the only reason I think it should kind of like stick around. But I think it's inevitable. I think at a certain point, I think EuroLeague probably will, establish something different.
I agree to that standpoint. I agree that I think that like the domestic leagues, because it's different. Domestic leagues are more of a tradition. It's more of a sense of pride. For especially in the country, certain countries winning the domestic league championship is bigger and means more than winning a European championship. So I think from that standpoint, I think that it's tough to see or tough to kind of forecast what the impact is going to have. And then also, I think if it does happen, I think what it may do is like how will guys get the opportunity to move up and play in EuroLeague or play in these higher levels if they don't get an opportunity to face these guys. I mean, that's how I moved up. I was able to move up because I played against a EuroLeague team. So if you don't have those opportunities, then how will guys be able to kind of prove that they can play at that level? So I think from that standpoint, I think organically it's going to happen. I don't know what impact and I think it's going to be for us that have played, in Europe for such a long time and played in the domestic league. I think for us, it's going to, I think most people aren't going to like it, but like you said before, I think it's probably going to be that natural progression, or it's organically going to eventually happen. Just a matter of when, so I don't know when, but I think eventually it will.
I think the 48-minute game will help people get more opportunity in EuroLeague. If you raise the more minutes, more games, I think theoretically you give young guys, maybe signing a guy for 80, 100,000 who would have otherwise gone to one of those domestic league teams, and now he gets to play behind Kyle Hines, or gets to play with Mike James, and he kind of learns the ropes of Europe and specifically EuroLeague, and now becomes somewhat of like a feeder type program that I think that Americans don't necessarily have in Europe. You get to play Euro Challenge or Euro Cup, which are great competitions, but I don't think it's quite the same level.
I think that the only thing I think about that is that because the 48 minutes in the NBA, every game doesn't matter, right? Every possession doesn't matter.
I was just about to say that.
You have that. You're able to not play every minute, but if you play a 48-minute game in EuroLeague, like it's going to be like a bloodbath, like because every possession, the way they play, the way the game is, the way the atmosphere is. So, I mean, I think it'll be more possession to give guys more opportunities, but then also in a negative, it can be more opportunities for injuries, for those type of stuff, which is something that's going to happen anyway. Yeah. But that's the way I kind of look at it. I'm like, man, I got to play 48 minutes against Tavares. Like, damn, like I'm.
Well, I'm saying theoretically though, those extra 8 minutes are for the guys who are the young guys that aren't getting, we got to throw them out there for the 5-10 minutes because, that theoretically speaking, obviously might not happen that way, but yeah. So, but that's my thought process behind that. But
nah, I mean, I think that
you got anything, Ant?
I remember I came from like it was a D League at the time to Europe, and I was playing in Italy, and that was probably like the first thing that hit me. It was like, I remember my first few games, I'm like, the quarter's almost over. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It goes by so fast. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because 12 minutes is a long time, man. And I noticed it even, going to Europe, watching the game, or even watching a college game, and then going to an NBA game, you're like, yo, this game's still going, man. Like, it lasts forever, man. It's crazy how much those extra 2 minutes at the end of every quarter make a difference. And then what are you doing with TV timeouts and everything else, you know what I mean? And don't let the European fans get rowdy. Now we got to stop the game for a little bit. Like, you in that joint 3.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Referees, they probably not trying to get the referees. They get cursed out and up down the court. They probably like, nah, that extra 8 minutes, man, we're going to need something more. Need something else.
Yo, what's your mental like after being in Europe for 15 years? Like, how have you? Obviously, you've grown as a person, and you've been in great cities, great teams, but there's still challenges to being in Europe, right? Like you said, it's a grind. So, kind of tell us about your mental and how you've changed over these years, for better or for worse.
Kind of how I grew my mentality is basically like, I guess this is kind of bad to say, but I almost forget about home. Like, I don't even think home does exist. Like, I just kind of get tunnel vision. I'd be like, yo, this is my home. So, I treat, where I'm at almost like as it's my home. So, and everything I would do here, or everything I would, do in the States, I would just start doing at home, meeting people, going out to restaurants, exploring those different type of things. And I think that also helped me become adjusted a lot more versus me just being in my apartment or being in my room, on FaceTime or playing video games, whatever, just like looking about like what everybody else is doing, feeling like I'm missing out, the fear of missing out. So that's kind of always been my mentality. I think it's helped me kind of make the adjustment a lot easier. Like I say it all the time. I've been over there 15 years. I lived in Europe almost half my life at this point. So I'm more European, or I feel more European. I mean, I live majority of my adult life I've been spent in Europe. So Europe has basically shaped my mentality, basically shaped who I am. Like I'm a lot more open minded. A lot more. I do things a lot more slower than I guess you would say when we're back home. I take my time. So I definitely think I have a more of a European mentality now, and I think once I retire, I think that's going to be the hardest adjustment coming back home. Trying to, be American again. I guess you can say American culture. Like I mean, I'm sure you guys go through it all the time. I just left Target and Walmart, and I'm just like, yo, why we got so much stuff here? Like, why is it like, why is there so much, different things like that? You go to a grocery store in Europe, it's like they got one cereal, one this, one that, and it's like, portion sizes of this and everything. So I think for me, like, that's going to be like the hardest adjustment. But I think also, like I said, for me, like, I just literally like, I stopped worrying about home, and I just like, I'm gonna make the best of my situation here, and I'm gonna treat here like it's home. And I think that's what helped me with my adjustment so much.
Yeah, I think I noticed that through cities. I just being in a place like Miami, and you hear all them different languages, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you pick up, or you hear a little something, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. I can understand it. And it's like being in Minneapolis, which is a great city, you know what I'm saying?
Debatable.
Minnesota, a lot of great hoopers. Shout out Minneapolis Hoopers, you know what I'm saying? From Khalid Alameen to Chet Holmgren, we gonna shout it out every episode until we, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah. So being in a city like that, where obviously it's more white and not as diverse, whatever, it's
Yeah, I
it's
think
dope
I
to
think
be
one
able
of
to have that
the
range,
tough
honestly.
parts, man, where I felt like Europe made its impact on me was coming back to the States and really like eating the food. Because when Europeans come to the States, they'll be like, oh, the food is terrible in the States. And like I go to 90% of Italian restaurants that I go to, I don't even order like what I would normally. I can't eat risotto anymore. I can't do certain pastas. Like I gotta keep it super. Oh, come on, yo! Like
Chicken
Pull
parm
up the
out the
Olive Garden
window.
no more, right?
no.
Nah, you bugging. Y'all bugging. I'm still pulling.
No.
I'm pulling
Just
right
for the
up to
salad and
Olive
the
Garden.
breadsticks.
Right up to
Salad and
Olive
the
Garden.
breadsticks and I'm good.
Y'all tripping. And I ain't gonna say it's the same, but Olive Garden still hit now. Y'all wildin'.
Hell nah, but like Europe really does like it just really it expands your mind in the sense of like the things that you eat, the things that you cherish, like even little things like in Europe you go sit down at a restaurant and have coffee, you be there for like 2 hours, 3 hours. Like here in the States, as soon as you done eating, they slap that check on the table like, yo, y'all ready to go? We gotta get somebody else in here.
They be we got somebody coming in. You time you gotta leave. So
Yeah, it's different.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. When I was in Asvel, when I was in France, there was this little like cafe downstairs, and they didn't even serve breakfast. And I used to go down there every morning. Dude became friends with him and all that. Dude made me some scrambled eggs, some croissants, and some sausage or bacon every morning just for me. Had my little coffee, being there chilling. That was one of the best times I ever had. Just being there talking to him and his wife. Man, you can't get that type of stuff here. But. Hey, but look, man, like we gonna keep beating the dead horse, but you done grew up with the league, so you really like, what comparison do you want? You really like the Bill Russell of EuroLeague or the Kareem of EuroLeague or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really have grown up with the league in the sense that you are one of the greatest to do it, and you should, if you haven't already, you should have trophies named after you. So do you think that guys of your caliber, and we've had this conversation with Shane, should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame? And don't be humble. Keep it real. Don't be humble.
I mean, honestly, it's hard. It's hard to really say. Like, to me, like at this point right now, because like my career is not over. So I still look at it as like I still got more to do. So like I still feel like the chapter's not over. I still feel like I'm still writing my story. So I think there's, if I'm not talking about myself, I do think that there's players like a Spanoulis, like a Yamadidis, like those type of players that belong in the Basketball Hall of Fame because their contributions to the game, have been global. You look at, you talk to Luka. Like Luka is, hands down one of the top 5 players right now. And you look at who was his idol growing up. He's going to say Spanoulis. You talk to Giannis or all these other players. Their idols. They patterned their game after European players. And I think a lot of these European players have changed the game or had an impact on the game. Moving forward. So I think that their contributions to the game, whether or not it's Shane or Mike or me or Mike Petit or whatever, I think their contributions to the game should be acknowledged, at some level. I don't know what that level is. I don't know what it is, but I do believe that the contribution should be acknowledged.
Yeah, man, I've been on here going to bat for you, man. You know what I mean? I think that, like, when I look at like your career, when I look at like what Shane is currently doing as well, and that's just this current era, not even to speak on the eras before, but like, even if you just look at the players in this current era, it's like, you can go around the NBA, there's only a handful of players that you could say could possibly accomplish the same things that you guys have accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Like, to go to that many Final Fours and to win that many times and things like that, there are probably a lot of NBA players that probably couldn't do the same thing, or probably will never achieve those same things in their league, or probably can't even do it in the EuroLeague, but then they're probably going to get a Hall of Fame bid. And the way I look at like Hall of Fame, and not just players, I'm talking about European coaches, like Obradovic doesn't get in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, granted, 2 different levels, I get it. But we've also seen that you could take players from both levels and they can fail. You know what I'm saying? So if we're just looking at basketball and the Hall of Fame is about accomplishments, I think that EuroLeague is prestigious enough to for the Basketball Hall of Fame to take a look. Take a look into these careers, and even go back. Even if we got to backtrack, man, it's never too late. Yeah. But I think it deserves consideration.
I agree. I mean, not only the accomplishments, but I do believe the contributions and the impact. Because I feel like a lot of these players have had, impact that that won't be able to understand or realize until a lot later on. So I absolutely agree.
I think contributions is a good word and a good way to look at it, because I think a lot. You talk about Luka and all the dudes they looked up to, but I think there's going to be a 1,000 dudes that come to Europe, Americans who. Myself, I came to Europe. I didn't know what EuroLeague was, man. I've told this story before. We played Fenerbahce when I was in Rome my first year, and I was like, okay, we'll see them later. We played them in exhibition. I was like, we'll see them later. And one of my teammates was like, no, they're EuroLeague. Like, I'm like, what the? Okay, didn't think nothing about it. I didn't really know what EuroLeague was for real until my second year in Europe, because we all think about the NBA. And then I started watching EuroLeague. Matter of fact, towards the end of that year, I think that was the year y'all won it, 2012 in Olympiacos. Yeah, so I remember watching the game and being like, oh, like this is lit. And then, going back and be like, I want to play there if not the NBA. So I think those contributions, myself, other people looking up to guys like you, like Shane, like that's just as big of a contribution, as Luka looking up to whoever Diamantidis or Navarro, whoever it is. So
I mean, I'm with you. I agree.
At least that's my 2 cents. So, well, we'll see though. I think it probably won't happen until EuroLeague becomes a closed league, I would imagine.
Yeah, or maybe EuroLeague and the NBA or FIBA have some type of partnership or something along those lines.
Yeah. So over the years playing with all these teams, what makes an organization a winner? We talk about a lot the NBA and how they help guys, young guys, whatever, and mold a winner. So to you, what makes an organization a winner?
I guess this word gets thrown around a lot, but culture. People always talk about culture. I think culture is a big thing, a more type of culture. If you have a winning culture, if you have a winning, a winning mindset, like the whole organization from top to bottom, I'm not just talking about players, but it has to go down from, the owner to the GM to the president to the medical and support staff to if everybody's on the same page and everybody's all in about winning, then I think that's the biggest thing. I think chemistry with the players, I think that's really important, very, very important in Europe, more so probably elsewhere because, as I said before, in Europe, you play 10 guys, 12 guys versus, in the NBA or whatever, you can have you play 8 guys, but you have 1 or 2 superstars who are the superstars who are, can carry a team versus in Europe, you need all the guys to be on the same page. You need all the guys to, really, do their job. But one person or 2 or 3 people aren't doing their job, you're not going to win. So I think chemistry both on and off the court. And I think also because a lot of times, and especially in the EuroLeague locker room, you got 12 guys in the locker room, but you got 6 Americans, a guy from Spain, 4 Italians, a guy from France, a guy from somewhere else. So you all have to try to find some type of common goal because, you're not from the same place. Even from the States, you got somebody from Minnesota, somebody from Cali, somebody from Jersey, so you all got to try to find a common goal, and I think if you're able to build that chemistry together, I think that is it. So, there's a lot of difference. You have guys, and, you might have a guy in the locker room that's making $3 million. You got another guy in the locker room that's making $250 or $300 or whatever. So, you got to try to put all those differences to the side and find that one common goal. So, I think to me, those are the 2 biggest things, the culture and the chemistry. And I think, especially in Europe and EuroLeague. And then lastly, you just got to have a little bit of luck. Like, honestly with you just got to have some luck because the way the EuroLeague season is, the way the European season is, like, it's a long, grueling season. Like, it's long, and you just got to kind of be playing your best basketball at the best moments during the season. And, sometimes that's just out of your control. You got to be lucky. You got to, be able to, win a Final Four. A Final Four is a single game elimination. So, you basically, the team that wins the Final Four isn't necessarily the best team in EuroLeague that whole entire season. It's basically the best team that played that weekend. So, a lot of it's luck. And so that, to me, those are kind of like the biggest, the 3 biggest things in my opinion. Well,
how you get lucky 4 times?
I've been. Honestly, if you look at
more than that,
if you look at, I've been there 4 times, but I lost. Shoot, how many times I lose? 6 times. 6 times. So if you look at the numbers, I lost more than I actually won. So. The fact that I keep getting there gives me more opportunities to win. So people don't focus on the losses; they focus on the wins. So which is good for me.
Nah, for real.
Yeah, you Brian for real. Listen, let you Brian. Let you Brian. That is shoot. But but that's crazy, man. So listen, podcast you on right now. Podcasts are kind of. You have a podcast too with EuroLeague, right? Yeah, so you want to shout out? You can shout out the podcast for EuroLeague. Make sure people check it out. What's
the quarter with Kyle Hines, which is like a 10-minute little podcast we do with EuroLeague. This past season, we did interviews with all the young players, up and coming players in EuroLeague, and then I got the Players podcast with ELPA, the EuroLeague Players Association, which is a little more of a long firm, kind of similar to what you guys do. Type podcast. So those are the 2. It's the same mission what you guys are trying to do, just trying to showcase, trying to give guys the opportunity to tell their stories, and while at the same time, spread positivity and spread awareness about EuroLeague and European basketball.
Definitely. So if that's kind of the trend right now,
what you think the next trend it's going to continue to grow. If you look at like player-led content overseas, there's only a few people really doing it. It's y'all. There's I think overseas players. I think they have like a Instagram handle. Shaq McKinzick from Olympiacos, he's doing it. We got a little bit. Jory Davis. We've all. She's doing something. So there's other. There's some podcasts, but I think you're gonna start to see more prominent names, bigger names. People start doing more. To showcase, and I think now you're going to start seeing probably in the next 2 to 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a large network like a Netflix or Amazon or somebody like that, start to pay more attention to overseas basketball and start wanting to showcase a lot more. Now you see with I can't think of the movie that just came out with Adam Sandler.
Hustle.
So you see with Hustle, you see so I think you start seeing little pockets and little things and little flashes that are kind of coming. So I think eventually you're going to see, some long form. Giannis just had his movie on Rise on Disney. So I think you're going to start seeing more of those things and more of those type of content things that are going to start forming and start happening. And I think from there, like I said, people are going to start, learning more about, overseas basketball.
I think looking to the future, I think we kind of have to look back, and not back as in time, but back in like the younger generation. And the way you see these young guys, and I think, it's probably the same overseas, but definitely these young high school players now, man, they on TikTok, they filming day in the lives, they're doing all these things at a young age. Like one young boy in high school, man, he's like, he made $450 off this NIL, and like he's getting like 300 from TikTok. But it's like, I think the next trend, as this newer generation starts to get in there, I think we'll start seeing a lot more like vlogging type content. I think, stories are always going to be at the forefront of sports media. Started off in print, now it's starting off with, starting to hit the podcast wave on the audio form. I think now, especially with the way these phones are and cameras and editing, you can do so much with the phone. I could start seeing guys start doing more like day in the life type stuff, especially being overseas. Especially now that you got ways to actually monetize that. I think that'll probably be, the next trend for athletes is more video, day in the life vlog type content.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
10,000 documentaries in about 10 years. Man, filming from 9 and up, man. But with that said, what has become important to you during your career besides, obviously just playing and your contracts? What's become
I think to me is basketball. Just be in the moment, enjoy the moment. I think that's something I've learned and try to appreciate, more now. Just enjoying the moment. Whether that moment is, whether it's win, loss, draw, whatever. Just enjoy the moment because, as I'm starting to get to the last moments of my career, I never know if I'm ever going to get the opportunity to, do these things or, experience these things. So I think that, and I got kids, so I want my kids to remember me being, a decent hooper, like somebody that was like, they can be, that can be proud of. Like I want my, like I always say, like, man, they like, you gonna retire? I was like, nah, I want my son to remember me scoring a bucket, like scoring a basket. Like I don't want him like on YouTube and like all that different type of stuff. So I want them to remember me as like actually being like a good basketball player. So I think those are the two things. And lastly, just enjoying, man, just enjoying the game. Like, at the end of the day, I think sometimes we all kind of take this game a little too seriously, and we forget the fact that it's a game. Like something we've been doing since we was 4, 5, 6 years old, like on the playground. And if we weren't professional hoopers, we would be doing it anyway. Like we would be in the 24-hour fitness, the LA fitness, the playgrounds in the backyard shooting around. So I mean, for me, it's like just enjoy the game and not just remember what it is. It's a game, and have fun doing it.
Definitely. I see you got a lot of nonprofit or philanthropic stuff like Team Hines Foundation and stuff like that. So I know that seems like it's very important to you as well. And then what's Gutter Cat? What is the Gutter Cat with the TBT?
Gutter Cats, gang. I'll start with the Gutter Cat. So I mean, I do TBT every year. It's something that's been very important to me. Kind of see the growth of TBT. And to be participated in, I think it's almost like 5 or 6 years now. But we started our own organization, the TBT, the team with my foundation. So this year we partnered with the Gutter Cat Gang, which is an NFT lifestyle community. And it's been great. I mean, we just came off of last weekend. We were in Omaha, and they had all the Omaha saying gang, and Gutter Cat Gang, and throwing up the Gutter Cat. Gutter Cat signs and everything like that. So it's been great to kind of partner with them. Especially they also with that partnership, which I think is even more important. Like they basically gave our players a master class about NFTs and cryptos. So one of the things that we wanted to do was like, if you guys are going to partner with us, like we want to be able, our players to be able to get something out of it. So they basically sat down all our players. And they talked about the origins of NFTs, talk about the origins of crypto, talk about how they can benefit from it, how they can possibly monetize, their brands from it, set up, OpenSea, set up MetaMask wallets for all the players. So for me, that was one of the most important things because I feel like, at least, okay, whether we win TBT or not, I wanted all our guys to come out of this, feeling like they got something from it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't go there and just waste their time. And then Team Hines 42 Foundation is basically my foundation that me and my family started. Basically want to give kids, youth, an opportunity to be great. I'm a big reader, and I said this in many other interviews. I love Malcolm Gladwell. And one of his books, The Tipping Point, he says that a person can't be great or can't reach their potential without first having the opportunity to be great. And when the tipping point breaks down all the things that are necessary for you to be great, whether or not you got a mentor, whether or not they talked about things with Steve Jobs or somebody like that or Bill Gates. He was he lived next to a computer center, so that's why he to learn computers and learn coding, and that's why he was able to create what he created. So for me, I'm like, well, basketball is what I know. So I want to use basketball as a vehicle to give, the youth an opportunity to reach their full potential. So that's pretty much what we do with Team Hines. We just recently redid a court in North Philadelphia. We just actually gave the court to Philadelphia at the Hank Gathers, our recreational centers, Hank Gathers, and Dawn Staley, who's legendary coach and player from Philadelphia. Redid the whole court. So that's something that we do every year when we do camps and all different type of stuff. So that's kind of like my what I try to do off the court. Like I said, I feel like I'm just a serviceman to the game of basketball. And I'm just trying to just do my best to kind of do what I possibly can to help better the game.
Man, that's love. That's love. So you well, first of all, Malcolm Gladwell book is amazing, man. He talks about how all the dudes are born in the first half of the year for hockey and all that, and that
exactly.
That shit is fascinating for real, man. That stuff is fascinating. But what was I about to say? Lost my train of thought again. But either way, we got one more section for you. It's paycheck, rain check.
Paycheck, rain check. Somebody's paycheck is taking a rain check, man. The highlight of this episode, man, is my man Pablo Lasso, man. He's had a falling out with Real Madrid. He unfortunately had a heart attack towards the end of the season. He wasn't able to finish coaching, and then news came out that he parted ways, and recently he just had a camp. He says he's perfectly healthy, and it appears that Real Madrid just wanted to kind of let him go. And this is completely is ludicrous to me because this guy has been there 11 years. He's won 6 titles, I think, in Spanish, 2 EuroLeague championships, and to see him go out like this, especially taking that team to the championship in EuroLeague this year, and as well as winning in the ACB, man. I think this is an unfortunate way, for him to end his legacy, with Real Madrid, man. But I guess the question is like, where does loyalty stand in Europe, if anywhere? I thought it was with the coaches, man. I thought teams I thought they ride and die for their coaches, man. But this was a shock to me.
There's no loyalty in sports. As simple as that. There's no loyalty in sports. This is sports business, and the moment that you think that there is loyalty, that's usually when you get your heart broken the most. Pablo's situation. I don't know all the behind the scenes. I guess none of us know unless we were actually in the room. But from the outside looking in, it does look like he was done wrong, just for the fact because he's given everything. The man had a heart attack and was still willing to continue to coach and continue to be out there. So like I said, it has to be some more. But Pablo, he's a great coach, and he's gonna be great not only in Madrid. He's gonna be great wherever he goes. So I think that he won't have no problem. But there's no loyalty in sports. That's really what the bottom line is. It doesn't matter if you're Michael Jordan, us watching The Last Dance, or if you're somebody else. This is a sports business, and the way that management or ownership or whoever these guys that are running the team or people that are running the team, they're always looking what's next. I always say, and I said this in another podcast, I was like, the moment they sign you is the moment that they're looking to replace you. They're looking for a reason to replace you. They sign you, and as soon as they sign you, they're ultimately looking for a reason to replace you. So that's just the fact. And I mean, the way that if I tell guys all the time, I'm like, that's the way you gotta look at it. I mean, you have to, enjoy it, be appreciative, and be appreciative of your career and the opportunity. But at the same time, you have to understand that at any moment, that they can let you go. And so you got to make the most of this opportunity. At the same time, don't waste the opportunity and try to take full advantage of it. But at the same time, like I said, you got to understand, like, this is a business, and you got to treat like on a business both ways. They're going to treat like a business, so you got to treat like a business. And that's the only way you're going to, want to succeed at this.
Yeah, man, that's facts. Wait till what I do. My last year, I'm about to boycott. I hope we in a championship game. I'm about to boycott the game, throw the ball at the ref head, and go right to the airport. Man. Fuck what y'all talking about, bitch ass niggas, man. Don't mess with them dudes at all. But nah, that's definitely a fact. Loyalty is not a thing. I mean, shit. Only loyal to you guys really your family and your friends, for real. So I mean, for being honest, that's in any industry, any business. So they definitely gotta be grateful for those people and keep those people around you. So, but listen, man, we appreciate. Oh, actually, hold on, wait 1 second, because you mentioned Shaq's podcast, and you did make a comment about Luka being top 5, no doubt, in the NBA right now. I want to go ahead and quash that. Put it, you know what I'm saying? Luka's top 5.
Top 10, yes.
Luka's top 10.
Yeah, Luka's definitely top 10.
No debate.
Top 10, yeah. No debate. Top 10.
Yeah,
top 10. No debate.
No debate.
Yeah.
Where's your debate? Where's your debate?
So you saying we can't? So who is LeBron
better? LeBron's
at the moment. I give it to him at the moment.
Like right now, right now today.
LeBron's top 5. LeBron's top 5. Luka is top 10. Top 10. My opinion, yes. He's on the outside of the top 5. Inside.
So you got LeBron, Giannis, Steph, KD, Jokic, Embiid.
Luka.
Who am I missing?
Luka's who you forgetting now. Luka's who you forgetting. Luka's who you forgetting.
Who we taking? Luka, Luka or Tatum? Luka or Tatum?
In a conversation with D-Book, Tatum. So they're all in that conversation. So.
Nah. You not
right now.
How he not top 10? Look at that team. Look at that team.
Luka ain't top 10 right now.
Look at that team.
They're like
first of all, the Celtics. Like you look at the Celtics, you look at CP and Devin Book and all them. So we looking at Tatum, we looking at Book and everything. All the pieces that they had between them two, Book, Tatum, and Luka, who had the better team? Who had the most help?
I mean, look, man. The Celtics probably had the best team.
No, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is like Luka's the main focus there. You're game planning for Luka over there.
I think at the same time though, Luka, like, you can't really put a lot of guys with Luka.
But who are you putting in the top 10 besides him?
So I had Bron, I had KD, I had Giannis, I had Jokic, I had Embiid, I had Steph, I had Kyrie, I got Tatum. Like, I'm taking Tatum, and then I gotta think.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Wrap the show up.
That's just off the top of my head.
He's in the top 10. He's in the top 10.
You know what I'm saying? If I gotta look through the list now, who am I forgetting? Where DeMar at? Where DeMar at?
This man is trying to hate. Look, you just.
What you mean? I'm just saying.
Come on,
that's just 8 people off the dome. Oh shit, Kawhi.
That's not.
Okay.
I forgot about Kawhi. And then to be honest, y'all, I'm gonna get flack for this, but
all right, man.
PG.
He is. He's good.
PG's still an animal.
Good. Don't get me wrong.
Dame. I'm just saying Luka not top 10. No
fair
debate.
enough.
I'll just put it like that.
Fair enough.
That's
why people like you are up there in Minnesota.
You
know, that's why we moved your population of Black Americans up there in Minnesota. Like, go start a riot and stuff. Y'all like to stir stuff up now. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all got this battery in y'all back. Y'all held this down, so now y'all think y'all can just come out here and talk crazy in public. Y'all held the Black community down during the pandemic. Now y'all want to talk crazy in public. Like, I get it, man. I get it. We acknowledge y'all now. We acknowledge.
You mad? Don't be mad. We real niggas up here, man. Real niggas up here. Don't forget it. But look, man, we appreciate you coming on, legend in the game. It's an honor to have you on the show, man. We salute you, appreciate you, and continue success in everything you do. And
man, I was gonna say I appreciate y'all, man. Definitely want to give y'all flowers, man, for what y'all doing. You know, the movement that y'all got behind y'all. You know, moving and pushing the game of basketball, especially overseas basketball, forward. Like I told Ant before, man, y'all have a lot to do in this media content space. For, you know, highlighting, you know, and giving guys opportunities that probably wouldn't have those opportunities. So, man, just keep doing what you're doing. And us OGs, us old heads of the game, definitely appreciate it, man.